Carson just welcomed a new member of the family into the world. So he will be offline for the next week. Congratulations to him. It's very exciting, but he'll be back plugged in about a week. Bruno still having some trouble, but I think he's trying to fix it. So that's awesome. Congrats to him. And he'll be back soon. He'll be on the next call. And yeah, that's a little update about that. Update on my end is we're making good progress on the V2 docs, the Git book. That's going to be out before the open launch. We're going to have a lot of the proper technical documentation in there for the auto pool, the auto ETH pool, and then we'll also have some more accessible, less technical onboarding type stuff. Nice GIFs of how to operate the UI and everything. So that's coming along great, and hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have that out. And so with that out of the way, I think we can jump into some of our bullet points for updates today. And we'll start with the most obvious one, which is the audit updates in progress with Hexens. So I'll turn that over to Cody.
Yep. So just this morning, we had our second meeting with Hexens. We have kind of weekly check-ins with them, and just where they can share what they've learned, ask any questions, stuff like that. So great news, nothing major so far. Definitely a couple minor things that will be cleaning up, and kind of the agreement we have with them is that they deliver the issues as they find them, so that we can, we don't have this, the big chunk of them at the end. But nothing of any real concern so far, which is excellent news. And so we'll keep up with those weekly meetings, and of course let you know if that does change. But so far so good. Part of getting the contracts off the audit was getting them cleaned up, and we've been doing kind of a lot of updates since we've done our initial guarded mainnet deployment. And so taking advantage of the exceptionally low gas that we've seen this last week or so, we've done a full redeployment of mainnet. We haven't switched over to it yet. It's still kind of in the warm-up phase, but I'd say in the next week or two, we'll actually switch over to using an auto pool and an entirely new deployed system. We'll migrate all the funds that we have and probably add some new destinations as part of that as well. I don't think you'll see really anything on the UI change, but we'll of course announce when that happens, and link to all the contracts so you can have them. But that's kind of coming. Also, as part of the kind of additional work, one of the things that we were just kind of reviewing in our pull request this morning was kind of the other side of our L2 communications, which means probably within the next week or so, we'll start our contracts deployment on base, utilizing TCP/IP from Chainlink to communicate some of our stats that we need to really get to do our rebalances for these LSTs on these other chains. And base is going to be our first pick. And
I think that it's
I'll give it over to Sharp for the rest of that.
Yeah, I think that's a good context on why base. We believe that at this stage, pre-open launch stage, it makes sense to bet on growth. And with Coinbase as a distribution funnel, we are very confident that we're going to see that growth specifically on Base. Now, there are multiple reasons to be very excited about this. Coinbase Wallet with account abstraction now is a great way to just become a distribution funnel that connects users that were previously in centralized exchanges like Coinbase to the on-chain world. And additionally, while thinking about what makes sense for autopilot deployment, it's important to look at the destinations that are integrated and the assets that exist on that specific L2. And in the base case, we have both Aerodrome, DEXs that we can support. And in terms of assets, we already have plenty of LSTs, like for example, RETH, wrap staked ETH, etc., as well as some LRTs that are already present. So while thinking about the autopilot position within a tech stack, I think that's something that we also want to communicate to the wider audience, is that autopilot can be seen as this front end for LPs. So instead of interacting with the underlying dexes, like for example, Aerodrome and Balancer, we hope that every user that reaches base through this distribution funnel connected by Coinbase is able to LP through autopilot rather than having through the painful user experience, which is LPing directly on Aerodrome. We really like Aerodrome. I personally think as an LP that there are some things that should be improved in terms of UX. And the great news is that if you're LPing through autopilot, all of that will be abstracted away. Now, separately, I think that it's a good time to kind of address our current thinking around, market planning. And in terms of this marketing planning, which now makes a lot of sense to really start to address, there is ongoing work, both in terms of organizing the timelines and outreach. So we're working on the content planning, where we're organizing all the video assets that were created, the NFT campaign that was also organized by Internet Poll, etc. We're also thinking about how to address the media coverage for the launch. And I think that part of our really important strategy for this upcoming launch, it's really going to be the co-marketing that is going to be done with integrated protocols. So we believe that this is the most organic form of having true reach within the space. Unfortunately, we have a lot of integrated partners for this purpose. So the goal will be to open a lot of Twitter spaces with them, AMAs, and just amplifying general content throughout various platforms of social media. We're also organizing the podcasts that we think that make sense as educational distribution funnel. And lastly, kind of just addressing possible research articles, YouTube explainers, etc. So all of this just kind of give insight into the different categories that we're considering for this marketing strategy, which is now being expedited, given that we're reaching a closer phase to the actual exciting open launch. And yeah, I think that this kind of covers the current thinking, both for the marketing and for the base strategy. Anything to add here, Connor?
Yeah, the other thing, just small little note, is I think we've decided to launch the celebratory autopilot NFT campaign on base itself, not just for the purposes of cheap fees to mint, but also we're going to couple that with sort of making our debut on Farcaster and just kind of integrating a little bit more into the base community in an attempt to kind of capture some of that momentum. So I think that'll be helpful too and exciting.
And now I don't want to digress as too much, but I was very happy to see that the ETH ETF, if approved, is not going to include staking. And the reason why I was very happy for this, it's because there's still a very big edge to be on chain, meaning that with the current desire to have exposure to ETH post ETF, I think that there's going to be that huge edge of just having access to this premium yield on chain. And again, thinking about Coinbase as the large retail distribution funnel, I think that it's an extremely good growth bet to try to position, autopilot as the best place to park your ETH on base from the get-go. And I do believe that similarly to what we saw on Optimism, Aerodrome is going to dominate the DEX landscape on base. in terms of liquidity incentivization, etc. So hopefully we'll be able to onboard a lot of users to auto pools while deploying liquidity to the underlying dexes.
Awesome. All great stuff.
Now, we might want to maybe ask Bruno or Nick if he's here to talk a little bit about the splash page. I'm not sure if everyone that is here on the call had the opportunity to check it out yet.
Yep.
We're always eager to get some feedback on it.
Yeah, as many might have noticed, we've updated the splash page, kind of like what many also call like the marketing page. This has happened because due to like the last couple of, I would say like months or weeks, talking to a lot of people, kind of like also like from outside organizations, like other protocols, investors, and everyone else that we explain kind of autopilot to, kind of like narrowed down a little bit more kind of the framing of autopilot and how to like kind of clearly like kind of communicate the use case for like the individual user, which is like why we also like chose to like on the marketing page kind of frame it a little bit more towards like the individual users so that they can see like the benefits of it like more clearly and understand a little better what the system does. Yeah, Nick, do you have any add-ins?
Oh, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'll also extend an invite that was previously made. So we basically did outreach rounds to a lot of different investors to kind of update them on the current vision for autopilot. And we also opened this out to the captains. We had some meetings explaining this with some captains that reached out to us on the community. But I just wanted to extend this invitation to anyone that is here on the call and wants to just get a full overview on autopilot itself and our future vision for it. So feel free to DM any of us if you want to get that insight. We're happy to do so.
One note to add on the marketing site update. Hope everybody agrees. Looks great. Everybody did an amazing job there. With some of the messaging that Sharp walked through earlier, you see that reflected in the new site. And I think we'll continue to iterate on this as we get closer to launch. And as a number of you in the community are seeing this for the first time, it would be great to share your thoughts with us, whether it's in Discord, in any of the channels, or through DMs to anybody who's been working on the site and sort of the messaging. And we'll continue to take that input and refine this as we get close to the launch.
Yep. So I think that actually covers most of the bullet points that we wanted to. I know it was kind of a quick call, but those are some of the main touchdowns right now that we wanted to get out to everybody. What else did I want to say? I guess happy Bitcoin Pizza Day, and very exciting news about the ETF. So things are feeling positive in the space again. Even though that was quite a surprise. I think it took everybody by surprise. But yeah, so we're excited about the space coming up and the timing in which we're gonna release Autopilot to the world. So if anybody else has anything else they want to close with, in the new splash page, you'll notice that there is a link to the Tokemak blog, which is where this recording and all future recordings and summaries of the community calls will live. So we'll get this recording up there in a quick little summary shortly by the end of day. So if you're not here, then you're not hearing me say this, but you'll get to listen to it at some point. Cool. Is there anything else anybody wants to say, closing remark wise?
Well, I just want to express my desire for every single autopilot user to feel happy with themselves, because holding auto ETH, they'll be outperforming every single TradFi boomer that is holding any of the ETH ETFs that are going to be issued.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's although I do think I don't want to speculate on this, but I do think that eventually at some point staking will be incorporated into the ETFs, but who knows? We'll see.
Hopefully not.
But
We'll see.
they'd still underperform probably.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. I know this is a quick one. Really appreciate everybody joining in the middle of the day on a Wednesday. We'll try to have another one of these soon. Probably wait until Carson's back fully plugged in. But thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And
Thank you so much, guys, and speak to you all soon. Bye.
Later, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.